Alright guys, got a little drunk last night, so I didn't do an ending video for the night, but we did get the rods, pistons, basically the whole short block's ready to go. All the rods are torqued and set. Everything spins smoothly, super nicely. You can see all the pistons are in. Miley Cyrus is over here. She's gonna do fine. I've got a lot of faith in her. So now the next thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get these head studs set in this and get the heads on the engine. So that's pretty exciting, and then I'll get everything together on the front of the motor and try to get everything degreed and timed, which is probably going to be the longest bit of doing this engine. So here I set the head gasket on the block, and then I clean the head with some brake cleaner, make sure the bottom's nice and clean. And I wipe the top of the head, make sure there's no debris in it, blow it out with some air. Now that everything's clean, I'll prep my head studs and put those in with an Allen key. The head studs ran in, now we can start torquing the head bolts. So I got one of the heads on here, everything's torqued up, ready to go. I just wanted to talk about one thing here. The cam cap bolts are torqued to yield, so you only want to use these guys once. So when you're rebuilding one of these, you either got to get a new set from Ford, or you got to buy some ARP ones, and these are actually reusable. So I'm running the ARP bolts in this, and that's also the same with the phaser bolts. So obviously those are the ARP ones for the deletes, but you don't want to reuse the phaser bolts or the cam cap bolts because they do stretch and you could have failures if you're running that again. And I think they're like $100 or something, so for peace of mind, make sure you're replacing these bolts. Okay, I finally got my crank back from my friend. I had this thing double keyed for the supercharger pulley right there. So that took a little bit because we didn't have the correct tools to do it, and it kind of sucked. But we eventually got the right tools to do it, and now this slides on no problem. And I can get this crank back in. So I'm not gonna bore you with the assembly since I already did it once, but I'm gonna throw this back in. I placed everything exactly the way it came out. That way I can just throw it right back in together. I know all the bearings are the same, everything fits good. Just gotta lube it up and torque everything. About an hour and a half later, I'm sweating my balls off. I think Grace is dead. She'd just been laying there for a while, and the crank's back in, short blocks together, everything's torqued. We're finally back to where we were before, except with our double keyway crankshaft. So now I'm gonna flip this thing around, and I can get some, actually I gotta put the oil pump back on, and then I'll do oil pump, pickup tube, all that stuff, and then I'll flip it around and we'll do some timing. So last night I came out here and I did some work. I got the chains all on, I got everything degreed, but then I talked to Todd Warren, splendid guy. He's a bunch of help about what I set the cams to, because I was just going off something I read, and I used to have these set to 118 and 120, and the car made a ton of power. It made 490 to the tire in like 365, stock Gen 1 motor with just cams and Gen 3 intakes. So like nothing really done to it. Stock throttle body, just like BBK long tubes. But it had like no low end torque. It was all like 3 to 7,200 or 8,200 was where it made the power. So like it made usable power, but it's so high in the power band. Especially if I put the blower on this thing, I want to lower the power band down a little bit. So I set it to 110, 113 because I saw that on one of the turbo builds from I can't remember who did it, but they posted their cam degree on there, and so I'm like, okay, that sounds pretty good, because I really want to bring the torque down and the power down like to 7,500, you know, max power. That way I'm not revving the piss out of this thing. And I talked to him, and he said that that was real narrow, so he told me to go 110, 120 on this. So I gotta readjust the cam gear, the exhaust cam gears over here. So what we do, this is just a quick rundown. I take this, I got the Comp Cams kit. Definitely recommend it. It's super easy. Everything fits up real nice. You got your bolt that bolts right to the head. And then there's just a lever with the dial indicator. You got this for your piston stop, which screws into the spark plug hole, and you adjust this down, and you run this all the way clockwise and all the way counterclockwise, get your degree number, and then cut it in half, and that's your 0. So you put this into the number 1 cylinder. Set your 0 with a little pointer. This thing also comes with a sweet holder. If you got the balancer off, it just slides right over the crank and locks into the keyway. And then you will turn the engine over, find your max lift on the cam, then roll it back to -100 thou, and then roll it to 50 thou, and then you record that number, and then you go all the way through 0 back to 50 thou, positive 50 thou, and you record that number, add them, divide it by 2, and that's your cam degree mark. So unfortunately these don't have any degree points on it. So what I was doing is I was just degreeing it with the big degree wheel, and it'd say I needed 5 degrees. I'd back this up 5 degrees and get me pretty close. So this one actually gave me a bunch of trouble, but it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and really wasn't feeling doing it. This one I got first try. So I mean, it's really kind of just like a little give and take, and it's not the easiest thing, but it's really not hard. It just takes a lot of time and a lot of patience. So I think anybody could do it. You just got to be real delicate with everything. So this guy sits right on the valve seat, yeah, so it sits right on top of the valve right there. You don't want it on the rock or anything, because you'll get some deflection. So when it goes up and down, it will ride right on the top of this, and you want to make sure that it's perfectly parallel, or as close to as parallel as you can get, so it doesn't have any offset with the dial indicator. But it took me about 3 hours to do it. Somebody that's better at it could probably do it a lot faster, but it's definitely not as easy as like a small block Ford or Chevy, because they only got 1 cam. We got to do it 4 times on these, unfortunately. So it's definitely a big job, but you got to do it. You 100% can't just slap these on and run them. Well, you probably could, but it wouldn't be at its max potential. So, all right, folks, what you see behind me is a somewhat halfway completed Coyote, Voodoo, Werewolf, I don't know, Cobra Jet, who knows, mix of everything engine. As you can see, I did a lot of work. I was just trying to get stuff done, and I had a bolt break in the block, and it took me 3 days to fix it. That guy right there, once everything was done. So it was pretty frustrating, and I just wanted to get some forward progress on it. But I wanted to fit this pulley bridge up and everything, make sure that I have what I needed. This isn't the full kit because the alternator is supposed to have like a 10 rib there, and then there's no AC. So I'm gonna modify this to use this 6 rib bracket for the factory stuff. I'll be able to mount my AC compressor here and the factory alternator there, and then I'll do the Volvo power steering setup. But all that costs a lot of money, and as much as I would want to get the engine in with the blower and do everything right away, I'd rather just enjoy the car with the engine in it, and then I can do like a pretty decent braking period without the thing making a bunch of power, and hopefully I don't need to tune it. So hopefully this weekend, probably not because I just said it, I want to try to get the motor back in the car, and I'm gonna just go back naturally aspirated so I can enjoy it for the rest of the summer, because it is August and we're about running out of time here. And this pulley bridge only took me about an hour and a half to put on, and I had no idea what I was doing, no instructions or anything, and everything that's missing on it, I know where it goes. So yeah, I just need to put the old headers on, because the new headers are gonna take like 6 weeks to get here, and with my luck and the corona going on, it's probably gonna take like 3 months to get here. So I'll just run the shitty BBKs on there, since I already know they all fit. I'll throw the Gen 3 intake on and the new clutch, so hopefully I don't have any vibration issues. And we can just go to town. Oh yeah, I put the MMR crossovers on here. It's a super nice kit. These I was a little bit skeptical about, but they just push on and they're not coming off. I can literally pull as hard as I can on it, it doesn't move. So yeah, she's basically ready to go. Couple more things, I'll probably have everything wrapped up either tonight or early tomorrow. Probably gonna go out to dinner here soon, because I got tomorrow off because SpaceX is awesome and we landed the astronauts safely. So Elon said, you know what, the whole company has Friday off. What a great guy. That's awesome. So that's gonna give me more time to do this, and hopefully I can get this thing running and we can go do some cruising, because that's all I really want to do is just cruise this thing around. But then I can slowly pick away at it, do the fuel pumps, the 85 stuff, the power steering stuff, and just slowly pick away and get it to where I need it to be able to just bolt this on and go. Because right now I'm about $4,000 short, which is quite a bit of money, and lots of parts. So slowly pick away and get her going. But for now, I'm gonna pull all this stuff back off, start putting the factory stuff on, now that I know that I have what I need to do this. And this kit's actually super fucking sweet, this Ford Racing. It's super nice looking. It's got all sorts of adjustments in it for all these pulleys. There's an adjustment here. If you're gonna use the alternator kit, there's a big billet piece that sits in here, and there's 3 adjustments on that. It's pretty wild. So you have so many choices for different belts and things if you're having any issues. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully the next time you guys see me, we'll be getting this thing running, and we won't hit too many issues. So make sure to comment, like, subscribe, share, tell your friends. I'd really like to get this channel going this year. So that's my 2021 goal, is to get this channel really going and make some really good content for you. So I figured out how to edit the videos better, and we'll just keep rolling with it and make some good stuff for you.